1, 2, 3. Welcome, baby. Spring break. These get the breeze. We don't take no days off. Not even spring break off. And I'm here today with good friend
Brock Brewer here.
What up, boys? All right, spring break. Anyone going somewhere cool? I went somewhere cool last year. Maybe I'll tell that story today. Brock, you been anywhere cool on spring break? Ever?
No, I think the coolest spring break I've had was freshman year. Texas A&M, just going to my boys' crib in New Braunfels. We spent the whole week shooting, going cliff jumping off. We have a river that goes through New Braunfels. I read a lot because it was one of the first times I had read my favorite series now. So I spent a good amount just grinding out like 1,000 pages. But nowhere like cool, I guess, because I'm a loser.
Well, dude, it's funny because I went to spring break last year in South Padre, which is also in Texas, right? Well, like where you were was
Yeah,
Texas?
it's down south. I don't know if, it's down south. I don't know if it's in Texas, but South Padre Island, yeah, it's
Yes.
pretty popular.
Great vacation spot. A lot of our friends, we have some going on cruises. We got some go to the Bahamas. We got some going. You're making me crazy with all this homework, am I right?
Heard that.
But yeah, so the thing about spring break is I can't believe we're already halfway through the year for most of us. Like for our school semester, some people have already had their spring break. Did UMass? Are we like one of the later spring breaks, or are we just?
Have people already had their spring break?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I thought we were
Are we one of the first ones then?
maybe the first ones. I know it's usually around this time. I don't think there's too much of a discrepancy. I think UMass is right now because when's Merrimack and stuff.
Theirs is this week too.
Yeah, I think a lot of
Snooze
people
is this
coincide.
week. I think Arkansas is next week. I remember last year I was the week after in
Okay,
Arkansas.
Southern's might do a little differently, but around here I think it's mostly this.
It's weird too because you don't really go home. I mean, we've only been at school for really like a month and a half because we started with the end of January pretty much.
Yeah.
But it feels that this year's flown by, and I feel like most people haven't been home. We're in fall, you actually don't get a break really until Thanksgiving. But then after Thanksgiving, you come back, you have like 2 weeks left, and then you go back home for Christmas. So it just kind of seems like shorter of a time.
Well, I guess that's what I like about spring break and even Thanksgiving is for fall semester you go to Thanksgiving break and then 2 weeks later you're home for Christmas break. And it's the same thing with spring break, albeit a little longer, but you go to spring break and then you come back and then you're at the end of March, then you have April, that's it, and then you have May, but everyone's out by like May 8th. So you only really have April and a little bit of March left in your...
Well, yeah, we come back, we literally have 1 week, right? So, no, I have 2 weeks left in March, April, and then we're done May 1st, which is that's 6 weeks, which in reality it's more like 5 weeks because that last week's just finals and stuff.
And I think each semester is 16 weeks, so we're I don't know, farther than the halfway point.
And for most of us out there that are like seniors and most people that, and again, technically, like this is your senior year per se because you're going to Japan for all next year. Like this is your last time you'll be at Amherst as a like student.
Right, because next year I am going abroad for the whole year, which is going to be fucking dope.
Dude, Japan, dude, watch out for Godzilla. I heard he's there.
Yeah, Godzilla's definitely there, wreaking havoc on the, oh goddamn Godzilla!
But yeah, what'd you say? It's kind of surreal, but I feel like are you ready to be done? Like obviously going to Japan, but
with school, yeah, dude, fuck this semester. I am so pissed. I got a 37 in my last Fields and Waves test. I am shook. Granted, that's the only bad test I did. Poor grade I got, but still, a 37 is the lowest grade I've ever gotten in a class. And I think that day when I learned about it, I was thinking about doing like Nirvana karaoke and blasting my brains all over the wall.
Dude, it's these get degrees rubbing off on you, man.
I think so.
But yeah, but at this point, we are again close to the end. And all our friends going on cruises and getting to go somewhere warm. It is a great time, I'd say. It's one of those things, if you've never been on a spring break, it's just like a week in a dream almost, because it's just, there's no, like college in itself is almost like no responsibility. It's like a joke, like it's pretending to be adult. That is the epitome of you are just there and everyone's there to have a good time and there are no rules.
Yeah, you put away your responsibilities for a week.
Your what is it? Your integrity. You're putting away your integrity, everything, your morals, you kind of just doing anything. It's like it's spring break. It's spring break. It doesn't matter.
I wish I that's one thing I slept on was doing shit for spring break, but I usually fill my summers up with going abroad. traveling. So
Dude, I study abroad every semester.
right, because I'm a fucking savage. Or me and Noah will take that trip around the world.
Yeah, you did that. Like, you've done. Oh, yeah, talk about that. So, you actually did something I think a lot of people wish they could do. You did. That's like, most people out there are like, what's their bucket list? Oh, I want to go backpack around the world. You did that. Talk about that.
Right. So A&M.
That is your spring break. Like,
right. This is why I didn't go on spring break that year, was because I needed the money. But freshman year, my boy Noah, coach, shout out Coast Guard, he hit me up. He was like, yeah.
Dude, shout out, Coach. He was in West Virginia last week. Shout out our boy Craig. He said that he saw, what is it, 9? No, he's talked to girls. 9 of them had ass tats. He was saying he's going to get to double digits.
Well,
I don't know what that meant or why that was impressive, but you go, Noah. You keep killing it, buddy.
God knows this.
Defending our coast, U.S. Coast Guard.
But no, Noah hit me up. Was like, "Hey, you want to go abroad?" And I was like, for some reason, usually when people say that, I'm like, yeah, sure, man, I'll go abroad. Or like, I'll do a show, like, yeah, totally. And then we never do it. But I was like, fuck it, yeah, I'll do it. And then I think 2 weeks later, me and him had come up with a solidified plan, figured out how much it was going to cost. And then we're like, all right, we can get a third. And then our other boy, John Blagan, came.
Johnny Bleach, shout out.
Johnny Bleach, which is a different story in itself. Not in a bad way, necessarily.
Not in a good way, necessarily.
Well, no, I'll get to what happened in a little bit. So, yeah, and then, so that costs about, I don't remember how much, maybe 5,000?
5,000 for, like, how
total, I think.
You bought the plane ticket where did you go first?
So we went to Portugal first, and I think that was pretty cheap. I think that was only $600. But we bought I forget what it's called. It's like a train pass that goes through all of Europe. And that was a lot. I think that was probably like $1,200. Maybe it wasn't. And then like another $900 to come back home, and then what you're spending on the trip for hostels and stuff. So maybe it was around 4,000, 5,000. We had planned to go to Europe for 2 to 3 months. It ended up being 1 month because Noah ran out of money, which is straight because I think we had kind of underestimated how much it was going to cost and how much we were going to be boozing and spending.
Mm-hmm. But that was going to be big ballers. And this is before you were 21 too, right? So like you were going to. Now, like you were going to countries where you could drink where you're 18. So that's another thing. You like buying booze was just something probably you weren't even thinking about.
Right.
Like it was, but it wasn't. You weren't going to spend as much money.
Right. I guess we can kind of turn this episode talking about abroad, maybe a little bit of it. But so,
well, just this episode will be talking about like vacation, traveling, doing that stuff.
Expectations, I guess. So that was our expectation. We were going to go there. It wasn't the first time that I've been overseas. I don't know if that's a brag, but when I was in 7th grade, I went to Europe and France. France and England by myself for 2 weeks, which was, I guess, wild at the time.
You were in 7th grade.
Yeah, it was 7th grade. I went alone. It was with the program, so it wasn't like I was just scouring the streets alone. Like, what the hell?
Straight boozing, balling.
It was the first time.
Booling, baby.
I was booling, getting so much ass as a 7th grader. Actually, I think on that trip I got ruthlessly bullied for having braces, but that's besides the point. I remember one guy telling me he was going to call the cops on me, and I actually got shook. And actually, speaking of that, I remember actually, I guess it kind of comes down to, when you're bullied, or like, the moral of the story is about bullies is they're insecure about themselves, is I kind of took being bullied and directed at some kid in the same program. And to this day, I feel so fucking bad for roasting that kid. Like, I had pictures from it, and I looked at it and I was like, damn, I was a dick to that kid.
You ruined that kid's life.
I don't think I ruined it. It wasn't like too bad, but it was just like.
How do you know, man? It's probably like, who knows?
I just remember fucking one kid I remember this distinctly, was like, all right, you're cool enough to talk to us now. And I was like, yeah, woo. And it's just like, if I could go back in time, I would have told that kid, like, fuck you, bro. Like, you should be one to talk to me. He was a little older. I think he was 16. So he was significantly older. So I guess it was like, the cool kid.
I'm trying to just making a joke.
No, he was serious. Like, you can't talk to us anymore. You lost your, standing. But it was fucking pathetic. Fuck those kids. And also fuck me for being mean to that kid because taking it out on. But anyways, so.
More of the story is everyone's a bully.
Yeah. So I had experience going abroad, and then I've been to France and England multiple times before that. And I have experience traveling, especially since my family lives in Texas, so I do traveling domestically a lot. But anyways, so our trip was to go down like this. We were going to go to Portugal, Spain, France, Belgium, Netherlands, England.
And you got to go. It was during the Euro Championships in soccer.
Euro Cup, Euro Cup.
Euro League, yeah,
Euro League.
Europa, whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is.
It's one with the internationals, like so, like Portugal. That was right, and you got to go to Iceland. That's when like Iceland first came on the scene, like when.
Yep. So Iceland was kind of not a mistake, but just offhand, like we didn't plan on that. So we're gonna end in England, and then maybe go to like Germany and stuff. We never made it to Germany. I forget what the original plan was, but anyway, so we fly down. It's a pretty long flight. Me and Noah took separate flights, and John, all three of us took separate flights. I landed at the island. What is it, Ibiza? Maybe
Ibiza.
No, is that the island?
You went to you met Avicii. Did you take a pill to show them that you're cool?
Yeah. No, but whatever the island is right before Portugal. Landed there for a layover, then flew to Portugal, and then we all met up. So, which was sweet because that's where the good shit happened, where I broke my hand. But, so the first couple days we go there, we're exploring. It's hella fucking dope. We went to Lisbon.
I thought it was Lesbian.
No, it's Lisbon.
Lisbon?
It's Lisbon. Lisbon, maybe for Portuguese. I don't know, which is weird because I'm supposed to be Portuguese as hell, but anyway, so we went really hilly. My one regret of the whole, I'm going to put this in the backdrop just so people know the story isn't going to be like the historical talk on it. My biggest regret is we didn't hit as many historical places as we should have. We did hit like the catacombs of France and some things, but most of our time was spent partying, hitting the bars every night, just being like college kids, you know?
And that's something I feel like as you get older, you look back, you're like, oh, you can party anywhere in a sense, right?
Right.
And like it's still cool, but like going to a historical monument is something more impactful in the long run. Just say because like these things you learn about in history, it's like I imagine when people like from other countries learn about like us in the United States and they come to Massachusetts, they're like, whoa, like I'm in Plymouth, like I've heard about this, and then they're like, oh, wait, these are the catacombs, and then all that cool stuff. But yeah, so you didn't get you partying, raging.
We partied not too much because it was fun and we were freshman year of college, you know. But maybe that's my only one regret. So anyways, we land in Portugal, and the first few days we go to the beach. It's hella small beach because Lisbon is a pretty small city, I guess, in regards to like something like New York, and the beaches are small. And we meet these Swedish kids who are they speak English because they're international. So a lot of them were born in America, but I guess their parents, for whatever reason, moved to Sweden later in their lives. So they're all international kids. A couple of them are native Swedish people. And we become boys with them and girls, boys and girls, whatever the term is. But they
become they with them.
Yeah, we become they with them, with them. But they ended up, just had graduated high school. And this was their like high school trip. So we become boys with them, and then they invite us to this place called Urban Beach, which I don't know if anyone's been to Portugal or the Lisbon scene, I guess is one of the most popular bars and clubs in Lisbon. They have very strict dress codes, stuff like that. So we get there, we're dancing, and one of my friends, the Swedish boys, we're all dancing, me and Noah dancing. The Sweds. He comes up to me and he's like, oh, like one of these Portuguese dudes. Okay, maybe this is a generalization, but European dudes are fucking feminine as fuck. I don't know what it is, but they are so metrosexual.
Well, it's because they go up. It's GTL, bro. The gym tan. What is it? I forget what is laundry. It's gym tan laundry.
I don't know. They're just fucking dweebs and.
Dude, they got the tan, the sick hair. They wear earrings.
Yeah,
the button-down shirts, the super deep V's, bro. You can't wear that deep V, man, and not.
So these are the kids we're talking about, super scrawny. This was the time where I think I was probably at my peak physical fitness, just because I came out of ROTC and I was lifting a lot.
Big boy Brock on the scene, coming in hot, kid.
So
haymakers.
So the Swedish kid comes to me and is like, dude, these Portuguese kids will not get off my girlfriend, and she's not having any of it. And I look over and she's like, dude, get a fuck away from me and stuff. And these two kids are just Portuguese guys are just. I don't know if they don't know any boundaries or they're just fucking thought they were slick Ricks. But anyways, I went over to him. I was like, you have 2 seconds to get away from her before and then without me finishing the sentence, he threw a punch at me. And I kid you not, it connected. It was the weakest punch I've ever experienced in my life. And after that, it just went downhill from there. And I don't know if this sounds unbelievable or what, but I try to give the background of these kids were scrawny and fucking soy boys. But I knocked 2 of them out. And by the way, my boy Noah is here at the same time, but he had gone somewhere else. I knocked 2 of them out, and then I punched one, and he had moved his head, so I ended up punching his head, breaking my hand. So there's two more of them, or there might have been three more, two more of them, and I'm like, fuck, I'm about to get my ass handed to me because I can't fight one-handed. And then and by the way, at this point, it's like a movie where there's fucking tons of people circling
It's
us.
like the freaking like those old action like Hong Kong movies where like it's
exactly.
Bruce Lee in the middle and then like all the ninjas just like jump around
And I don't know
make
where
the circle.
security was at this point. But anyways, so Noah, I had his hat on me. He's
That's the best part of the story. When Noah tells the story, he's like, dude, I couldn't find my hat. And then I saw you with my hat and I just ran over there.
So he runs over and he's like, oh shit, my boy's in a fight. And then Noah takes care of the other 2, 3, and then fucking that was it. And then the kid comes up, he's like, dude, you hit me! You hurt my face! And while I'm talking to this kid, telling him like, you shouldn't have done that, you fucking pussy, his boys are still hitting me, but I'm telling you, it was the weakest punch I've ever felt in my life. And I mean, I've gotten a decent amount of fights, but it was just so like embarrassing for them because, like I said, some people might not believe it, but me and Noah just made easy cake of fucking 6 people, 5 to 6 people by ourselves. So at that point, we're like, fuck, we got to get out of here. My hand's swollen as hell. I have the pictures. I don't know if you want to you can post them on the promo or something. My hand's swollen. And so for the rest of I didn't get arrested, by the way, which is insane to me. I was wicked scared that was going to happen. I didn't go to the hospital because I didn't know what the health care deal was.
Yeah, that's scary. That's like another thing too about being in all these other countries, even on spring break. Like you're in the Bahamas or something, and like I went to Jamaica in 8th grade. And when you go to a resort, like when you get off the plane, though, you go through these like countries. It's just like people. Like I saw a guy with like an AK-47 just on the street, just chilling. And like if you leave the resort and like something bad happens to you, you're stuck there. Like you have no idea.
There's no accountability. So it was a little sketchy. So I opted not to do it. Which I guess is not too bad. I lost some mobility in my hand in the sense that like I don't know. I was double jointed in my thumb, but like now I can't. I don't know if you can see the difference.
Yeah.
So that not ruined the trip, but for the whole fucking trip up until Iceland, really, I could not use my right hand. It was swollen. It was awful. Oh man, that fucking. At
least you knew you weren't masturbating the whole
time. Yeah.
So I learned to be lefty.
That happened, and that was right off the bat. And we're like, fuck.
Would you say that was a what the hell's it called? Like a thing that happens. I'm losing the word. What is it called? Precursor, I guess, to how the trip was going to be? Or
was it indicative of... Yeah. No, it wasn't, because at the time I felt like kind of a fucking savage, honestly.
Like, we run these countries, bro.
Like,
USA.
Like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm fucking patriot as fuck. Like, showing these guys standing up for the women's rights. Like, don't touch our womans. I don't even give a fuck. What's good with you, bro? What's good? So we left. And then the day after we left Portugal, but I forgot to mention that, so that's that story, but this day before that, we were all hammered with Swedish kids, and they invited us to go to a strip club. Okay, I've never been to a strip club, but I fucking blew like 200 euros that day because I was like, oh, this girl's fucking hot. Oh, fuck, titties, bro? She's like, oh, you want a private dance? I was like, hell yeah, baby. She's like, all right, it's like, whatever, 100 euros. I was like, all right. So I got a private dance, got some finger action. It was sick.
I just like, the thing about those places is just like how gross the like vagina that you were fingering in it was.
Yeah, it's probably really fucking gross. That's straight. It was
for the boys. It was for the memory.
I was like, yo, smell this, Noah. He's like, oh, dude, that's sick. Let me get some of that. I was like, nah, bro. But anyway, so fucking
just like start like you're doing it like, oh, sorry, my hand's broken. I know what's going on. I didn't mean for that to happen.
2 days later, I mean, so first 2 days within the trip, I'm already down like 400 euros, and I was like, all right, I gotta slow down. Another thing you should know is a lot of countries, I don't know how most people do. Well, I assume most people in America start partying around. Like, 10's a good time to... 10 isn't necessarily when it really gets popping, but parties start at 10, and then
people
like
go to the bars around 10, and usually if the place is going to get really packed, 10 is usually when you want to go, so you can get like a seat and stuff. Right. 11's usually like, that's as like a DJ, I'd say 11 o'clock is right when the club is supposed to be at its peak of, you have people there drunk that have been at the bar for a while, and then people coming in. And it's like the perfect merge of fucking crowds.
Right. And abroad, I noticed that they didn't start drinking until like 12 o'clock. 11 o'clock is when 11 o'clock was like the 10 o'clock here. So they started 11, 12, and clubs were open until like 3 or 4. So that was a little bit of adjustment.
But people don't go to the club till literally like 2 a.m., right?
They don't go to the club until wicked later. You usually pregame at a bar, and then you're out until like fucking 4 in the morning. That killed me. I was like, Jesus.
What do they do for work? Like, they don't have 9 to 5s? Like, how's that go
They
down?
might not, but I know that a lot of people in different... Because, Americans, they stop partying kind of once they get a corporate job.
Yeah.
I know, at least, I should know this, maybe May can chime in, but in Japan, they'll do like something where they do a lot of partying because as workers, Americans stop when they get older, they have more responsibilities, so they don't really go party as much, but it's kind of the opposite in Japan where there's tons of work parties that they go after, stuff like that.
That's what Jesper was saying, because Jesper's from Norway, and he said, like, when they would grow up, when you graduate, it's like a big party. They have literally a party bus that comes, like, they all rage on it. They have like their Sweet 16s, like, they get wild. And then there's like a relationship between workers. Yeah, it's the same kind of, like, There's a bond between the people you work with, which we do have here. And that's kind of, but it's more like fraternity, fraternizing, sports, friendship that they have in their workplace. And I think we don't have that here, where it's more... Like, also the way that we do work here is different, where it's more cubicle. Like, you're in your own zone, you hit your numbers, you go home, you have your family, you have your friends, you go to the bar, you do your stuff. We're there, they're all gung-ho, like, we're boys, we're in this together.
It's definitely fraternizing in some sense, because I know there's, like, you have your senpai or whatever, kacho, I forget. May, what's the word for a president of a company? Kacho? Shacho. Shacho. So you have those people that you drink with, and there's like a certain etiquette that you have to do. I'm speaking obviously strictly Japanese, where the shacho will sit in a certain point in the room, and then as a kohai, which is junior, you'll sit nearest to the door or something like that. So there's a lot of etiquette that's involved with it, while in America you just go out with your
I think that's like kind of the reason that a lot of companies, like, again, the best time you become good friends with people is when you are out together, and you can't really build real relationships inside of like a workplace, and that's
tensions are high.
That's why they like companies. They do all the fun games and like they get all the
parties and stuff
corporate
like
events, so you can like get to see someone not when they're your boss. But that's the same problem. That's why I think capitalism in America is the way it is too, because the idea you're not supposed to be friends with your boss, because then that way if someone's friends with their boss and you're not, you think they get special treatment.
Right. Well, I think that's why it's the way they do in Japan is kind of interesting, is because there's still that etiquette and respect. And it's like kohai and shacho there's still that etiquette of respect, and you're using the polite form, mas form, versus he's talking to you as if you're a little child. You know what I mean? So there's still that etiquette, but yeah, definitely for sure. And then I think that's basically it.
So then you were in Portugal,
then Spain, which was cool because at the time I wouldn't say I was fluent, but I was definitely the one guiding us through Spain. I was speaking with the locals, which was so fucking cool.
And again, you would say, as someone that their major is another language, the best way to learn another language is to actually be there.
Yeah.
Like, do you think it is possible to become fluent if you just take a class? Like, if you did, like...
Not necessarily just a
Rosetta
class.
Stone?
No. Rosetta Stone, I mean, maybe for your baseline, is not going to get you fluent. That is total BS. You can learn without immersion in the sense where you don't necessarily have to go to the country to actually become fluent, but you have to immerse yourself within your country. So, like, if I really want to be fluent in, like, Japanese, but I didn't want to go abroad, I would have to be watching shitload of anime, listening to music, reading every day.
I think you can get fluent in a sense where you can understand how to read it. That's like people that speak all the languages.
It's like an artificially created.
Yeah, you can speak, you can read it and understand what they're saying, but the way that you would talk to someone, you would tell right away that you're
gonna lose the colloquial nuances because most of the time when you learn a language, it's very formal, it's book based. Like when you learn Arabic, I think the first language they teach you is, I forget what it's called, it's like standard modern Arabic, which is useful in the sense that that's what they use for news, official documents, etc. But for any of those people, any of y'all who are familiar, with Arabic, you know that there's a shitload of dialects, and the dialect that is spoken in Morocco is totally different than the dialects spoken in Iraq or something.
But the dialect, it's different than in America. someone down south says y'all and stuff, right?
Right.
Or is it? Or
No,
is
it's totally different. There's different.
It's just even the way that they.
Grammar's different. The way they form
And it's the
sentences.
same language using the same words.
You can almost say it is the same language in the sense that it follows the same grammatical structures in the most part. It follows the same alphabet, or in that sense.
Yeah.
But like I said, someone from Morocco isn't going to understand the dialect from. This isn't. I don't know if this is actually true, but it demonstrates fully from, Iraq.
Yeah.
And same thing with Afghan or Iran, where majority of people speak Farsi, which is a Persian dialect. Not Persian dialect. It's Farsi, is Persian, and is derivative of, the Persian Empire, is totally different from Arabic. So someone in Afghanistan who's speaking Farsi, by the way, is not going to be able to stand Arabic of Egypt, because it's actually totally two different languages. It'd be like trying to compare, English to not even French, because I'm pretty sure they're actually from two different families of languages. One's like Indo-European.
It's like kind of trying to compare, like,
honestly,
Spanish to
Japanese.
Yeah,
They're totally different. But
or about like Japanese to Chinese, like, I don't know.
Kind of, maybe. I'm not very. I should know this, but maybe Korean's a more accurate Korean to Chinese, because I don't think they're related in the
something
way.
that once you know, you can probably, like, if you learn one, it's easier to learn the other, but it's still not the same.
Actually, I don't think that's necessarily true. Well, in some sense, but I think Farsi is a lot closer to English because both are Indo-European. Versus, like I said, Arabic is not. I don't know the actual family. And, some of you linguists out there might be like, damn, this dude's an idiot. He has no idea what he's talking about. But I am almost 100% sure that they're two different families. But anyways, so Spanish was cool. We saw, I should have run. We went to Barcelona and Madrid. We went to
Go to any soccer games?
No. We went to the Grande Plaza, whatever the big plaza is called, in Madrid. We went to I forget what it's called, but it's on the tip of my tongue. But it's the building in, I think, Barcelona? Might be Madrid. It's the building that the architect had actually designed, so it would be updated every, whatever so years. And it's the one that kind of looks like it's kind of like a candle wax melting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think it's like something familiar. I might look it up. So we went to that.
Jamie, look that up.
Yeah, I'm trying to. If I can, I need the mouse pad.
But yeah, so you went there, and then you also went to. Did you go to Italy at all?
No, Italy. Right after Spain, we went to France. I'm French. My grandma's from France, so I'm pretty French. I'm French as hell.
Chris Lowell's also French, as he told us his grandma's French.
Yeah.
Sounds hilarious when he speaks,
but unfortunately, I did not like France as much, just because.
My dad used to say that if being countries was like a game, French people would be in last. Would you agree with that after being there?
Yeah, kind of. Okay, by the way, just real quick, I think it's a La Sagrada Familia. I think that's what it is. And yeah, that's a pretty interesting building if you guys want to look it up. I'm pretty sure the architect had designed it so it would be. It's supposed to be unfinished, like it's not finished now. It's supposed to be like an accumulation of different periods of architects. So you have like, this part isn't actually factually true in the sense of you have like Bosque mixed with Gothic, mixed with modern architect. I don't know if that was the intention, but he did intend for it to be designed or added on every so-and-so years. So we went to France, we saw the Eiffel Tower, we went to the catacombs, which was fucking hella cool. The catacombs are located in Paris, and they're located in an abandoned quarry, I believe. And it's interesting because, technically, I guess it was maybe disrespectful to pick up the bones, but I picked up the bones, and I was sitting there, and it was kind of surreal because it's like, damn, this person, I have no idea when this person died, but I'm holding someone who had memories, who had a family, who lived, and all these bones are just here. It was really interesting.
Well, I remember I've actually dug some research into that, and the idea too, right? So those catacombs, there are parts that you're not allowed to go to, right?
Right.
And the thing is that there are so many bodies down there that where did all those bodies come from? Like, and how many? If that's just one section, think about how many more catacombs like that are just in other parts of the world that are just hidden that you don't even know.
I mean, look at Egypt. You have all these tombs and the Valley of Kings. That's such a sick name. I fucking fuck with
Valley of
that. The
Kings.
Valley of Kings. Like, imagine being
Born in the Valley of Kings.
buried in the Valley of Kings. That's such a sick name. But you have all these tombs and catacombs being discovered, which is interesting. But yeah, that was unreal. Favorite part of France by far.
But yeah, you would say that they would be last. What about French people? What is it about French people?
I think it's just the same thing that we were talking about earlier. They're pretty metrosexual, and I think they have like an unfair stigma about being like surrendering, maybe because they haven't won a war. But I mean, if you look at the history of France, France has a fucking sick history in terms of the 7 Years' War.
Is France, because there's always been this thing about like that French is, there's like a race war, like you don't like black French people, because like that's always been a problem. There's like the thing with like Pogba and like the African Americans, well, not African Americans.
Speak to the racism.
Like, that's not something that you just saw.
Yeah, I didn't really see it. Maybe I've never really talked to my grandma about that, and my grandma's not racist. I mean, she lives in Texas. She not deals with it because that's kind of a harsh word, but she's dealing with, quotation marks, dealing with minorities all the time, and it's not like I've ever heard her be like, yo, fuck these people. Now she's so I don't know, maybe my grandma's an anomaly, but
it wasn't, there was no like segregation, like you didn't feel you could,
no. But then again, I'm some white blonde haired dude, so
they already hated you to begin with. Like, you Americans come. Oh yeah, did you feel that? What's it like though being in another country? Because I think there's like when we think of people from Australia or people with like accents, and especially like people like our friends that are like Swedish and like my friends that are like Norwegian, they have like accents, and you know, people are like, "Whoa, we love your accent and stuff." Is that kind of a thing? I feel like as Americans, we don't even. It's tough to come with the idea that we have an accent and we sound different to people.
Yeah. Well, I don't think so. I think because, especially since English, and especially American English, is so widespread. I mean, we're the center of entertainment. I don't want to say the world is largely involved in American, because it's kind of country centric or whatever, but for the most part, most people, there's a reason why everyone speaks English is because it's so involved in other countries, and our entertainment is kind of based like other than soccer, sports and stuff, like entertainment, music and stuff, that all kind of our stuff is like American-centered music, TV, movies, and stuff like that's spread all around the world. So I think we kind of lose the novelty in that sense, where when people come abroad to America, we're like, holy shit, that accent's sick, blah blah. Because we're not around it all the time. Versus they're like, oh yeah, just American. And that stigma where, fuck, I hate Americans, maybe it's true, but I think it's more true if you conduct yourself like a fucking retard. If you walk around like you own, like you're better than everyone because you're American. We respected the culture. We try to incorporate in the culture, and I think a lot of people recognize that. And they're like, okay, they're trying to be respectful. They might not get it all the time, but they're not going around screaming, hey, USA, USA. That did happen on our trip. I was like, Jesus, get me away from these dudes. Like, that's so just cringy, if anything. Like, it'd be fucking weird if you were in New York and all of a sudden these Koreans walk by like, Korea. I'd be like, okay. And then someone would say, well, they're just showing their pride in the country. But realistically, you see that, you'd be like, well, no, this is our country. You can't be doing that because... I mean, like, I don't really give a shit either way. Either like, we don't care. It's just kind of cringy. It's just like, dude... And it's like, why are we talking about America now? Just, like, enjoy the culture and stuff. Soak it in, man. Just soak it in. But yeah, so you went to France, and then you went to Iceland, and... Well, France, and then Belgium, and then... Belgium. How was Belgium? Belgium was interesting. We went to the flower place. We didn't stay in Belgium long. Both times I went to the Netherlands, Belgium. We didn't really stay long in Belgium. Netherlands is fucking sweet. Shout out to Jan. I got so fucking baked there. Did you go to the red light district? Yeah. I didn't do anything. Did you go to Amsterdam, dude? We did go to Amsterdam. You went to Amsterdam, dude? Well, I remember the whole time just being baked out of mind, walking in an ice cream shop. This is the only time where I could definitely be like, people are like, dude, fuck these Americans. Is I walked in the ice cream shop way too baked and stood there looking at ice cream for like 30 minutes before someone was like, are you going to buy something? Yeah, do you need help? And I was like, dude, I don't even know where I am. And I like walked down there like, nice. And in Amsterdam and in France and England. How does that work on the red light district? So they're just naked chicks in the windows? Yeah, it's like window shopping, basically. And then someone goes in, and then you're like, oh, that guy's about to get ass. Respect my man's right there. But there's a lot of times where we didn't have hostels part, we just didn't want to pay for a hostel, so we just ended up sleeping on benches and stuff, which was interesting.
Yeah, how is it? So it's like being homeless, man. Like, how was that experience? What would you like to share about that?
I mean, it wasn't really anything. It just sometimes it sucked because you're cold and tired. You're like, fuck, I'll just sleep on this bench. But I wouldn't do that in some place where I knew that they were gonna like rob me potentially. Yeah. But we're in England and Netherlands, nicest people around. Everyone rides bikes. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, what would you say the environment is like in other countries? Because it's kind of like in the big cities here, Boston, New York, even in California. People here, I would say, it's not like a friendly vibe. It's like New Yorkers, Boston, we have that like cold weather, we're tough mentality. Like we're
just not the same thing.
It's just everyone's doing their own thing. We're nice, but they're nice too. But it's not like they're extremely kind or something like.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's normal scam artists. Maybe there's more pickpockery and like thievery and stuff. But actually, to go back to your point about the racism in France, I did notice that most of the people who were selling stuff on the side of the road tended to be, I think they were, I don't know, I doubt they were refugees, but immigrants from like Africa and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that played a part into the, I guess, supposed racism in France and stuff. But I know in Japan, according to a couple of my friends who said they went there, the Yakuza, which is the gang, I guess, or like the mafia, tend to hire black individuals as the kind of grunts of the gang. And they end up being the people that normal people like you and me who go to tourists interact with, and so they might have a negative stigma. So it could be the same.
Well, that makes sense too. You hire someone that's not really around, so that way you can be like, it gives people the stigma. It's kind of like the idea where if you make bad guys in movies like crazy, like monsters or demons or something, and then you don't make the bad guys in suits, even though everyone wears suits. So it's just like, there's
a distinction about it. It's the same thing why most bad guys in superhero movies and all these heroes are typically like bald, like men.
Yeah.
So when you see like a bald guy, you kind of associate that with, he's evil.
Except The Rock, shout out Dwayne.
Yeah, but Jason Statham or whatever.
Bruce Willis.
So you have all these. So there is if you look at that movie Jude Law played in recently, he's like a bald dude. And, it's just a stigma. So I think it's kind of the same idea where these people are hiring these and that's the face of the game. Netherlands was cool. And then right after Netherlands, we went to England, which England sucks just in general. Like, I hate it. It's just expensive.
Fish and chips.
Bland, and sorry to all my English homies out there, but I just didn't fuck with England that much, so I'm not really going to talk about it. And then finally, we were like, fuck, we're out of money. Let's make one last hoorah. So then we went to Iceland, which was fucking dope. It was the most beautiful place I've seen. Reykjavik, which is the capital of Iceland, is literally like a Nordic town in Skyrim, where it's not like a city, traditional city. It's literally kind of like a town. And it was a little expensive, and
are the people all attractive?
I mean, they're blonde and
blue-eyed.
A lot of blonde, yeah. I mean, there's definitely not like all attractive. They actually, for a couple times, they mistaken me for being Icelandic because I have blonde hair, blue eyes, and they started talking to me in Icelandic, and I was like, "Bruh, sorry, bruh." But they used the Swedish krona, I think, or it might just be the krona, but I'm pretty sure they used Swedish krona, which is a different currency, obviously, but it's a little bit more confusing because like $10 ended up being like 1,000 Swedish krona. So that was one of the.
Dude, we should just move to those countries and go with like $1,000 U.S. currency, and then we can become like the most dripping rappers of all time. We'll just get all the bills and just hold them up like, yo, man, we dripping right here now, dog. All this sweat.
It was expensive though. I remember paying like $15 for like Subway, and I was like, damn. But it was definitely one of the most beautiful places. We rode our bikes for fucking like 20 miles. I got attacked by birds there because I guess we got too close to their nests and they started dive bombing me. We hitchhiked to the Blue Lagoon, which is the spring, the spring that's like a light blue color that you probably see in the photos. And actually, contrary to popular belief, I don't know actually if it's popular belief, Blue Lagoon is actually not naturally occurring. It is a result of there's a power plant or something around there, or something plant that actually heats up the water. It's a geothermic type deal. And the blue is naturally occurring. It's just a silicone in the water.
Was the temperature there, right? So they lied about Iceland and Greenland? They said Iceland was like, they just named it Iceland because they didn't want people to go there, so they had Greenland. Is that true?
I don't know if that's true. That sounds kind of like an old wives' tale, honestly. But Iceland is not ice. It's very. I mean, obviously during the winters it can get harsh. It's north as hell. But we went during the summer, so it was cool. It was beautiful. It was like spring in the Northeast. Honestly, it was awesome. I would definitely recommend going there. We didn't get to see as much of Iceland as possible as I'd like, just because we were at the end of our road. But we were able to hitchhike a lot of places, stuff like that. And Iceland is actually really small, so you could probably go around the whole island in 11 hours, I think. Something like that. Within a day, you could go around.
Isn't that crazy, the idea that that's a whole country, and you just can do it, and you can just go, you can see it all in one day?
It was sweet. So that was basically my trip, and that was about a month. So I did have experience backpacking. So when I go to Japan next year, it's going to be a little different environment in the sense that I'm doing it for school. I'll be taking some engineering classes, but most of my time will be trying to learn the language. And Japanese, like, testing for languages is separated into 5, I think, where it's N5, N4, N3, N2, and N1. N5 being like the most rudimentary beginning stages of learning language. My goal is to get to N2, which is what you need to be hired in Japan as a foreigner, I believe. Most places require that. So that's my goal. I don't know if it's a realistic goal, but I plan on trying to immerse myself. I'm going to be taking 7 hours of languages every day, and then on top of that, I'll be in Japan.
Well, that's the thing that most people, when you're a tourist in a country, there's a difference between going to, like, the tourist spots and being part of the actual, like, culture. Right,
exactly.
So once you get, like, invested in the culture, it's just you actually see so much more than just... So that was the thing too, right? Like when you go on spring break to these islands, it's just going because it's warm. Like it could be be California for all you know, and it's just you're on a resort, right? It has nothing to do per se. It's not like you're at
invested
the Bahamas.
In the culture, like, I'm going to learn about Bahamas. I mean, which is fine. Like that's what we already talked about. That's what spring break's supposed to be. You're supposed to get hammered, get laid, see some titties, see some, you know what I mean?
Get paid, baby. Well, they're getting paid. You ain't getting paid. You come back broke. But would you say that you kind of got to experience the world more just because you went?
Yeah, because I met tons of people. I got to look into how things work a little bit. Definitely not in depth as I'm going to be next year, because I'm going to actually be experiencing culture, going to these, I'm going to be experiencing Japan for what Japan is culture stuff, versus, going as a little bit of a tourist, a little bit of a adventure, I guess. But yeah, it was definitely worth it, and it's a dream that a lot of people have. A lot of people never get to leave the country, so I'm really blessed in that sense. And I had help from family and stuff, but most of it was just my money. Damn, I'm drooling too hard,
dude. Give up the drooling. That's what happened last year. Last spring break is when I gave up my Juul app. So
I'm tossing this as spring break.
Yeah, I think their juuling is a habit that you should kick eventually. Should be Juul for life. Juul gang for life until they come out with sick vape. Remember when vaping was like the thing too?
Well, I mean, everyone's like, oh, it's healthier than cigarettes, but same thing with weed. Like, anything you're inhaling external from your body for 99.9% of times is not healthy.
The idea about weed that people say that I kind of agree with is anything that comes from the earth that is naturally grown is probably not bad for you.
Oh, I mean, opium and cocaine's kind of derived from naturally occurring.
Yeah, it's derived, but you're not ingesting it in the form that it is derived from. Like you're adding stuff to it and changing. But like so weed, weed that's grown and tobacco that's grown like from tobacco plant or whatever.
Yeah, but even if you're smoking tobacco plant, I think you're still gonna fuck up your lungs.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I agree in some sense.
But the idea though that smoking weed is this thing that you should just be all about doing it all the time. It's still not good for you. Like, don't smoke weed
every day and be like, oh, dude, like I'm curing cancer right now. Dude.
Every time I smoke weed, all I ever would want to do is just eat a salted bag of chips. I would never do that. That's why everyone should just smoke weed all the time. It's like, or we should just not do any drugs.
And moderation is good.
Everything's fine, but like, yeah, just the point. Just smoke weed over drinking, or how about just don't drink or smoke weed?
Yeah,
how about
just have some self-discipline. Which,
hey,
honestly, fuck this thing right now. I'm gonna toss it. Look at self-discipline. Fuck that Juul.
Fuck it, bro. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about my spring break.
What are you doing?
Yeah, so last year I went to South Padre Island, which is... So the thing about spring break that I think a lot of problems that people do is they don't book it in advance because that's what happens when you booked your trip. Was it last minute? No, but you planned it out, right? That's why you're able to do it. When everyone wants to do something, they don't plan it out. They just go.
South Padres in Texas, by the way.
Yeah, they they want to just let's do this now. So when we booked our trip, it was like $300, 4 nights, 3 nights, 4 days. It came with a wristband to all the clubs. And South Padres, kind of like, think of it like a Cape Cod, kind of like, it's this own little island with this strip. They have like all those classic stupid tourist shops that you see if you go somewhere like near the water with like the stupid inflatable t-shirts, all the like gimmicky stuff. Then they have like all the alcohol stores, and then they have a bunch of clubs you get to go to. So like it's fun, but I mean I did it all in the first 2 days. So I can't imagine people stay there for 7 days, which is crazy. And your body can't. I just don't get 7 days of like a binge. You definitely feel that. I felt that after my last day there of like 3 days of drinking hard. I had to force myself because I was there, so I wasn't gonna waste my time not partying. But you definitely felt it. So the fact that people after 4 days, I don't imagine you feeling any better. But so we went there. We booked it like 2 months, 3 months in advance, and it's nice because at first it's that like idea when you buy groceries, you don't want to, like, you feel worse about spending $50 on groceries than you do by spending like $20 on like a pizza, because you get to eat the pizza right now, whereas groceries, you're like, I don't get to eat all this right now. So in your mind, you're not getting the instant gratification of using it. So when you pay for a vacation, you're not getting to go there right away. You're putting like a lot of money down for it. So you're almost like, why should I even go on spring break?
Right, no,
and then then the day comes and all your friends are going on spring break. You're like, man, I wish I was going on spring break.
Yeah.
But then so we booked it, and then at the time, so a little background. So I was dating this girl, and I went with, so it was me, my friend, and his girlfriend, and then I was friends with his girlfriend, and we'll call her Sally. So I was friends with Sally and Steve. And my girlfriend,
Chaniqua.
No, that's going to be hard to say. Becca. Yeah. So Becca and I were dating, and we were getting closer to the trip, and I didn't want to be with Becca anymore, but we were going on vacation together, so I wasn't going to break up with her and then have it be awkward, because we were driving down from Arkansas, which is like an 8-hour drive. So why would I break up with this girl?
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then I was talking to Sally. I was like, hey, yeah, so I think after spring break, I think we're going to break up. And I was like, me and Sally like had some history in the past. So I was like, oh, we're boys. Like, it'll be fine. And then literally 3 days we're about to go down, I get a text. It's like, what, you're going to break up with me? I was like, no.
Sally,
yeah. So then what ended up happening was I said, yes, that is correct, but I just didn't want it to be awkward. And she's like, it's not going to be awkward. Like, we're not together. Like, fuck you. We're broken up. And I said, now look at this. It's going to be so awkward. And everyone's like, no, it's not. I was like, well, you're dumb. You're dumb if you think this isn't going to be awkward. So anyway, then we go down there, and we get down there, and we get drunk, and it's incredible. So the way that it works is we missed the week, but the week before they had like Cardi B, Gucci Mane, Migos down there. We got to see Bauer. You know what song Bauer is famous for?
I have no idea.
The Harlem Shake. So we got to see the Harlem Shake guy, and that was like the thing the whole time the joke I kept making. It was like, yo, we get to see the Harlem Shake guy, yo. This is like 2 years after. And then everyone's, dude, Bauer's sick. It's like, no, he's not. The Harlem Shake was the worst song ever. But so we did that. We got to go on, and so there's this contest they run every week. They give out fake beads that you literally buy at like Party City. Those just like fake plastic beads, and whatever girl or guy has the most beads at the end of the week gets a free vacation for next year. So what you do is you go to the store, buy some beads, and like this is what spring break is. Remember those like things back in like growing up, like the Girls Gone Wild videos? Yeah. And it'd be like girls coming up to, like, that was the thing. It's like, yo, girls, you're gonna be wild. Like, yeah, that's what spring break does to the girls. It's crazy. You just have beads on. Girls would come up to you. They go, yo, you want to see some boobs? You'd be like, yeah. And they'd be like, all right, give us some beads. You give them beads, they show you boobs. And then they'd be like, yo, you want a shotgun of beer off my ass? You'd be like, yeah. And then they'd give you some beads. And you're like, all right, sick. So that was going on. So that alone makes spring break worth the price of admission. But even better, so I was there with my ex-girlfriend, and we had a room where it was me and, what did I say her name was?
Sally?
Sally? No,
Becca.
Becca. Me and Becca were sharing a bed. and then Sally and Steve were sharing a bed, so we were in the same room. So we were still sleeping in the same bed together, which was awesome. And so the first night, we're down at one of the clubs, and this girl starts dancing with Becca. And then they start making out. I get on Snap, of course. I'm like, you college is sick. And then when it happened, she was like, yo, like, what are you doing later? And I was like, yo, get her Snap right now. They left. She's like, yo, hit me up later if you guys want to hang out. So what we're going. So at this point, we're drunk. We're on spring break. Again, we don't have integrity at this point. There are no rules. We're like pretty much together at this point. It's fine. Everyone's drunk. It's great. And I say, yo, we're hanging out with that girl. And she's like, I don't want to, though. And I said, come on, this is spring break. You only live once. She's like, well, can we hang out after we hang out with that girl? I said, sure, whatever. So we text that girl. We leave the club. And then we go to her place. And she's there with a bunch of roommates. So we're going to go back to my place. So at this point, Steve and Sally went back to the apartment, back to the hotel before we left the club. So they're there just chilling. Sally wasn't feeling good or something. So I text Steve and I say, Steve, I'm coming back to the apartment with Becky and this other girl. It's like, you will not ruin this for me. I swear to God. So you guys can either stay or go to bed. I don't care. It's spring break. This is what we agreed to stay in this room together. And then, so we get in the elevator. I
remember that snap.
I take one of the best snaps of all time. It's the two girls in the elevator go, spring break. Crazy. Time of my life.
Threesome incoming.
And then we get up there. And so it's the most like awkward thing that can be done at this point because it's like we're just walking my room. Steve and Sally are in the bed. And I say, okay, guys, we're doing this. So then we just get naked. We get naked, do the stuff. Time of my life. I didn't even finish. That's how awesome it was. Crazy. But they got pissed. Like, they were super pissed. Especially Sally, because she was being a bitch. And she was just mad at me at that point, because she was being all friends with Becca or whatever. And she was mad that Becca was still feeling herself some Chembrai. And then I was like, yeah, college. So whatever. They leave. We finish. It's like, after long time. And then, so we're just laying in bed, college. We're laying there naked in bed. And there's a knock on the door. It's like, who the hell could that be? Boom! Oh, so at this point, too, to stay at the hotel, you had to have a wristband after, like, 11 o'clock. You weren't allowed in the room if you didn't have a wristband. Boom! Security guard comes in. Flashes light. Shh! I'm just naked. We're both all naked. Two girls next to me. Boop, boop, boop. He's like, yo, who doesn't have a wristband? Get the hell out. Flashing lights all over my junk. I'm like, bro, what are you trying to see, man? What's going on? What kind of hotel is this? And then he starts saying, all right, who doesn't have a wristband? You have to go. And there's freaking Sally in the doorway. And I'm like, you fucking bitch. How could you do this? And he's like, yeah, like, so, yeah, it's her. And then he's, like, giving her the freaking lights, like, looking at her naked. It's like, I know what you're doing, guy. I see you, man. I see you. He's like, all right, I'm going to get dressed. So then we have to get dressed. And then he's like, yeah, so we all need to go. Like, she needs to go. And I was like, I'll walk you down. So we're walking the elevator. Freaking other chicks walking in front of us. And the security guard goes to me. So he goes, so how was your spring break, Bren? I go, it's been pretty good up until this point right here. He's like, yeah, spring break, am I right? And I think that sums it up. That was the first day of spring break. So then I had to deal with my other two. I had to deal with Steve and Sally the rest of the time, being like, remember when you guys brought security to me after I had a three-way and you guys ruined my experience, you assholes? But spring break, we got drunk.
What did they say to them? Were they like, oh, sorry?
No. Well, Steve was like disgusted that Sally did that. And I just kind of, like, went off. I was like, you stupid bitch. How could you do this? Like, I can't believe you thought this was okay. Like, why are you so mad? Like, you're just mad that I was the man. I said this was going to happen and all this stuff. And I was like, I was in my high horse. I was feeling pretty good about myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't believe you did that. Like, whatever. I'm still the man. And I was like, let's get out of here, Becca. And then we just left, went to, like, another party. And then we just forgot about it. And then at that point, there was only so much you could do. It was like,
it was over.
Yeah, it was over. It happened. I still got to live it. I still got to put the Snap story. At the next day, all the boys being like, yo, so how did that go down? What was the deal with that? I was like, oh, dude, it's your boy here. College for life, spring break. And then, so spring break, and that's what I wish for everyone, that they get to live out their fantasies. And I feel like that's what spring break is for. Again, it's just those times where you can be an asshole, and it's with people that you literally will never see again in the rest of your life, other than your boys. And it's like that's a concept when you go to college, but you see those people around. College is like a lot more smaller than you think it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you kind of live it up, live your dreams, feel the vibe, plow some horse, study abroad.
Study abroad.
All day, baby. And then, I don't know, that's kind of college. And then you never kind of get to do that ever again, I feel like.
Unless you're fucking sad.
Yeah, unless you're the people out there being the best is then people like after be like, dude, so I've been like hooking up with so many chicks, I've just never had a three-way. Like I'm gonna do it. I've been close, but I never did. And I was like, that's not something that everybody does. It's not something that you need to feel. After doing it, I kind of was like, I've accomplished everything I've ever
dreamed of.
every dream I've ever had. I've done it. This was the sexual hierarchy. And I've accomplished it.
Some people dream about going to the moon. Jack dreams about having three-ways.
Okay, you got to start somewhere. It's like first you dream about banging one girl, and then you're like, dude, you get to the moon, and then you realize there are stars millions of miles away, bro. It's like, damn, dude, gotta shoot for those.
Kind of sucks that Hanley's still a virgin too, though.
I know that's crazy. Hanley,
what's up, big guy?
I remember being on. Remember, like some of the boys I was hanging with, they're like, dude. Some of us hasn't had sex with one chick when we've been here. It's like, you've had sex with two at the same time, bro. Yeah, dude, it's no big deal, whatever. I'm totally a player. It's like, so I don't even feel like I'm a player. I just feel like I get lucky. And that's kind of like, you can look at some people.
I mean, it's called getting lucky for a
reason, baby, yeah. But I feel some people actually have talent and do things and like get there because they work hard, and some people just are in the right spot in the right time, and I feel like that's kind of how my life has been. I just get to the right spot at the right time and go with it, and then you just kind of act like it was talent or skill or something. It's like, yeah, I just got lucky. But you don't need to know that. America, now you do, though. Thanks for listening.
Heard that.
Yeah, and anything you want to say about studying abroad? Well, you never studied abroad, but except every semester, about your time abroad in the seas?
No. Not really. I mean, just if you go study abroad, just make sure, I'm going to wrap this up real quick. Just join clubs, immerse yourself, meet other homies, like really get involved like you would. Don't let it go to waste because it's a blessing that you're able to do this. And I'm sure you have parents helping you. You're doing it for your own money. Just make sure you really capitalize on this experience.
And don't take it for granted when you do get to go on these like incredible incredible like trips for, again, like share the time with your boys, because at the end of the day, one day you're going to be old and you're going to have like kids and you have a wife and you're not going to be able to be with the boys. Like this is the stuff you're going to talk about forever. Like every time you see your boys that you did that stuff with, even I feel like I completely forgot you did that. I feel like you don't even bring that up that much. I guess.
Well, I mean, yeah, it doesn't really come naturally in conversation a lot.
But that's the thing. Like these are the like memories you have every time spring break rolls around. I just think of like Right Above by Drake. I'm like, didn't. It's like I don't like my chicks in ones. I like my chicks. Is that something about that line? The chicks in twos. I'm like, yeah, Drake, he gets it. This guy gets it. Me and Drake, dude, God's plan. Imagine if I never met the Broskies. That was the song that was popping at the time. So every night it was Freaky Friday, No Limit, and God's Plan. So every night at the club they'd be like, imagine if I never met the Broskies. And I was like, this has never been more Chads and Brads around. Almost Tyrones. They're out here straight rocking their Supreme headbands. It's like, what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Yeah, and on that note, boys and girls, spring break hard, spring break loud, and girls gone wild.
XXX Tentacion.
I'm not sad, I know ya. I'm sad I didn't get to
Moonlight
Light. Feeling something at
these
night.
get degrees. Is it for
Bros.
assholes?
Just kidding. Assholes. Alright, we out. Deuce.